Alrighty, we're going to add an outlet using some MC cable. Here in the country I was born in, we use a 12 American wire gauge on 20 amps, 14 American wire gauge on 15 amps. Black is live, white is neutral, the bare or the green is the ground. Red and blue are also live colors. However, you may find white live in a 110, 120 volt switch loop on a 220, 240 volt circuit where the appliance does not require a neutral. So we'll first cut our MC cable and mount our box that we're going to come out of. So we'll put our cable, our thing into our cutter so it looks like this. And we'll just turn it. And when it feels freely turning, you just loosen the screw up. I'll just take our cable out and we'll put our anti-short bushing in here like this. Push it down in. Okay, it didn't quite seat down, so I'll show you how to get it seated down all the way. We'll take our side cutters here and we'll cut this little lip off here where there's a sharp edge. So now we don't have a sharp edge that could cut into our wires and hold our bushing up. So now we'll put our bushing back in. Oh, this might be the wrong size bushing too. Okay, we have the other size bushing here. So we'll just set it in here. And we'll just push it. Keep working it down in there. There, now we have the right size bushing in here. We got it to sit nice and flat like that there. That's what we want. And we'll take some electrical tape here and we'll tape our bushing down into place. This will help hold the bushing in place so we don't lose it. And also so it doesn't move around. This is our MC cable connector. We'll set it on our cable like this. Just make sure it's down all the way so we don't put our screw through the wires. Okay, so now we'll get our box ready to put on here. We have a extension box that goes on a single gang box, and on the front we have a nice 4-inch square, so we have plenty of room for our wires, and we'll be putting a mud ring on it for a single outlet. So this will go on to our box here, our single gang box. Finish it by hand so it's nice and stable here. And we'll stick a couple screws in here to help hold the box down. open up a nice knockout here. Well, it's nice not to have a ring. I have to go look for one. Oh, here it is. So we'll start running our cable down through here. I'll tap that down with a screwdriver later. Can't get it with the screwdriver, you know what? You can't. Be careful not to take the wire. Okay, now it's tight. I can't go through here because there's pipes in here, so. I'll just get it right in between the pipes there. this drill bit how it hops like a bunny rabbit. Okay, so we'll mount our 4-inch square box here. Get nice and flat here. I'll stick one more in here. So we have a 3/4 and then we have 2 halves here. We'll open up a half. We'll come in this one right here. We'll put our 1/2-inch MC cable connector in here. Make sure it's on there nice and tight. We'll see where we gotta cut our cable. So I'll cut it right here. So we get our thing here pointing down this way, tight, and we'll just turn it until you feel it turning smoothly, freely. We'll just take that off. Unscrew it, we'll take it off. We have all the extra wire in here. And we will put our, we'll cut off our sharp edge here. We'll put our red anti-short bushing in here. Okay, so we'll just tape our anti-short bushing in place here. I'll take the clamp out so we can get it easier. Make sure we get our cable up into our just make sure our cable is up in all the way there. Just tighten it up. And we'll get a clamp right in here. I love it when it goes backwards. Okay, there we go. So we'll get our plastic off of our wires here. It might come off hard, so you just take it off in pieces, that's all. You don't get all upset. It's going to come off hard, it's going to come off hard, and you just take it off in little pieces, that's all. I don't need to have all that in there. I'll save some for our tails. So what I'll do is I'll just use my knife here and just rip the end down here. Maybe that'll help me get it off easier. And if it doesn't, it doesn't. I'm not going to get upset. You just take it off in little pieces, that's all. There it goes. Okay, so we do have to bond to our box with the green screw, and we're going to put it right here. So get our wires all untwisted here. So we'll score here, and we'll score right here. So we'll score our insulation right between our two marks there, like that. Make our loop that'll go around our screw, make sure we don't get our insulation caught under the screw head. Okay, so push our wires back into our box here. Now we can put our double mud right in here. Get our two outlets. So we'll close the screws we're not going to use. Okay, so we have here in the country I was born in, your black wire's live or red or blue, and it would go on the brass colored screw, which is the narrow slot, which is over here, and our white, which is the only color allowed to be used for a neutral besides gray, goes on the silver colored screw, which is the wider slot. And of course your bare wire or your green wire goes on this green screw, which is the U-shaped hole, which is your ground. So we'll do all our outlets loop to loop here. We'll make our ground loop. We'll make our hot loop. And we'll make our neutral loop. You always cut it with the size wire you're going to use. Be careful not to nick the other wires when you're stripping. There's our white, which is our neutral. You want to make sure you don't get your insulation caught under the screw head. I might take a smidgen more off the white. I just don't want to get any of the insulation under the screw head. There we go. So we'll put our ground wire around our green screw here. We'll loop it so our insulation is even on the top and the bottom here. Close our loop up the direction our screw turns. Make sure it's nice and tight like that there, and our copper's under the screw head all the way around. Okay, we'll do the same with our white wire. We'll make our loop the direction our screw turns, and we're going to make sure this insulation lines up evenly on the top half and the bottom half. So when we close our loop, we don't get our insulation caught under the screw head. Make sure it's nice and tight and our insulation is not pinched under our screw head. Now we'll flip it around. You can have your ground hole either facing up or down, depending on what you want. We'll put our black wire on the brass colored screw here. Get our insulation even at the top and the bottom here. Put it on the brass colored screw. Make sure it's nice and tight and our copper is under the screw head all the way. Now we can screw this outlet into our box. Make sure our screws aren't going to hit any of the wires here. And I'll finish it by hand so I don't strip my holes out. Get it centered here so it's nice and flat on our box the way we want it. Neat. So when we put the cover on it, the cover fits nicely. Now look at our second outlet up here. Again, we'll close the screws we're not using because we don't want them floating around and hitting something we don't want it to hit. Make sure it's nice and tight and our insulation's not pinched. Make sure our copper is under the screw head all the way around and our insulation is not pinched and we have a nice connection like that there. We'll flip it around, we'll get our black on our brass colored screw. You always put your wire around the screw the direction your screw turns. When you tighten it, it closes the loop too. Okay, so everything is the way we want it. Our insulation's not pinched, and we'll fold this one into our box. We'll make sure our screws aren't going to hit the wires. We'll finish it by hand so we don't strip our holes out. Okay, I'll make sure that no wires are hit, and we're not hitting any wires. So now we're going to go down and hook up into our power box where the power is coming from. Okay, so we have a bare wire which is our ground, our black which is live, and our white which is neutral. So first we'll get our ground wires together here. two ground wires together here. This one's longer than the other, so we'll just clip that off here a little bit. Bring it over here. We'll get our third one in here. I'll clip it so it's even. Now I hold this tail wire so they all stay tight, so I'm going to just look and make sure they're all even here. And no, they're not. I see one up here. Now they're even. And we'll stick our wire nut on here. And I hold the tail so they stay even inside the wire nut. Okay, now we'll push our ground wire back into our box here. Okay, now we'll get our white wire here. Okay, we'll get our twist nice and started so it's nice and even here. We'll come down here, we'll get our other wire in here, we'll get our insulation even in the bottom there. And we'll just twist it in. Hey, we were very lucky. They're all even on the end here, so we're going to see if our wire nut will reach, get all the copper up into the wire nut, and our insulation is going in. So I'm going to take a look at that again. Even at the end. Yep, everything's all nice and even. Copper's going into the bottom of the wire nut. So I'm going to hold my tail as I'm tightening this so that everything stays even. Make sure it's nice and tight, and we can push our white wire into our box here. Back in here out of our way. Now we'll get our black wire, which is our live wire. Get our insulation even at the bottom here like this. Get the insulation from this wire even at the bottom here. I'll just twist it in here. Where is it? Right. How nice it broke. I love it when wires break, because you don't get frustrated, you just deal with them. Get our insulation even at the bottom here. I'm not going to twist it too tight because I don't want to break it again. And I'll clip it so it's even with the shortest one here. All three are even at the end. And I see our insulation's all even down here at the bottom. Make sure our copper goes up into that wire nut. hold on my tail here so it stays even. Okay, and I'll push it back into our box here. Get out of our way. There it is. Okay, so now we'll get our mud ring on here like this. We'll put it on this way. Make sure it's nice and snug here. So we'll put our black wire on the brass screw here. I'll strip our white wire. I don't want to pull too hard on this ground wire because I don't want to break it off. There we go. Okay, so we'll start with put our black on the brass screw. And I stripped a little along here. Close our loop the direction our screw turns like that there. Make sure our copper is under the screw head all the way around. Make sure it's nice and tight. It looks like that. Now we'll get our white wire up on our silver screw here. I don't want to overwrap it there. See how it overlapped a little bit, so I just brought it back a little bit. Now I just pull forward slightly so that the copper stays under our screw head all the way around. Make sure it's nice and tight and we have a good solid connection like that. Now we'll hook our ground wire up. Fold our wires to go in like an accordion. Close our loop the direction our screw turns. make sure it's nice and tight. Okay, so now we can push our device into our box like this here. I gotta go look for some screws. I love to look for things. Well, you know what? I'm going to just cheat and pull one off another out. I'm not going to dump that all out and pull out through everything and not find what I'm looking for. Look, make sure we don't have any wires getting pinched anywhere. And we don't. I'm going to make sure our screws aren't going to hit the wires, and they're not. I'll tighten it by hand so I don't strip the holes out. Okay, now we'll stick our cover on here to finish this up. Okay, we'll turn our breaker back on. It's this one right here. This is an older Wadsworth panel. I'm going to guess it's probably 30 years old or so. So this is our polarity tester. You can read the chart on it. If the two orange lights are lit, it's correct, and if the red one is lit, it's backwards. So let's plug this in. And our two orange ones are lit. Okay, we're going to go check our other one, our double. Two oranges are lit. Two oranges are lit. And we'll stick our cover on here. So we'll stick our cover on here like this. Alrighty, so that is how to add outlets here using a box extension on a single box to give you more room, and make it a double box if you need, or make it a single box but give you more room to get wire nuts into the box. Peace. Thanks for watching.